to do something like what we're doing, like to be in the music industry, to go start a podcast, like it takes balls. Yeah. It takes like rolling the dice and committing yourself all in. Like if you don't go all in on it, you're never gonna be successful at it. And so it's like realizing that you're gonna go in and you're gonna be successful, you're gonna fail. But there is that chance that you fail, but you have to go for it.
Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast.
Don't give up until you find your thing.
Don't be afraid that you don't know what you want to do yet, because I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I still don't know what I want to do yet.
I'm still trying to figure that out. If you don't have it figured out early, don't think you're never gonna find it.
You really make your own opportunity.
What do you genuinely enjoy?
Everything is strategic.
I mean, nothing ends up how you want it to end up.
You go around once, there's no dress rehearsal.
But you have to understand yourself to know what your passions are, and then it just comes really easily.
Keep looking for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Today on the podcast, we got Jordan Levine. What's going on, baby?
Bobbbaaaay.
Yo, big things, Jordan Levine. Big things.
Big things.
Do you remember when we met?
I recall.
Tell me what you remember.
Oh, that was years ago. It was like
Fall,
2 years
2016,
ago? Fall 2016.
Fall 2016, not too long ago.
I think we were in Syracuse, New York.
Yep.
And we were playing a show.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were I was with Huey Mac.
Yes.
And you were Dylan.
Yep.
And you guys were opening for us.
Yep.
And it was a very interesting venue that night.
Very interesting.
Funk
and Waffles, right?
Funk and Waffles.
Funk and Waffles,
It was,
Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, Waffle House.
Oh my God.
Straight off the Food Network. One of my favorites. And that was a hell of a show.
Long time ago. You know what's funny is I remember meeting you guys, and I remember we kind of hung out in the hotel room, and I felt so like goosebumps. I'm like, yo, I'm hanging out with the guys part of the tour, because that was the first official tour that I had been kind of part of before I had been on the road with Dylan. But knowing Huey Mac growing up, I was like, holy shit. He's like buying us pizza. I was like, yo, this is the greatest day ever. Like, I'm cool with these guys. And I remember talking to Mason. You know, I just see him as the photographer, so I'm like, oh, he's got to be like the guy, the real deal. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you trying to be cool. Yo, you sipping tonight? He's like, I don't drink. I'm like, okay, I just look like a dick now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But man, that's a long. So you're talking fall 2016, and on that tour, you were just the merch guy.
Yeah.
Like
merch
guy. I want to just sell anything and everything and help out for the crew.
Basically, yeah.
Yo, that's crazy. And now you're out here running around with Bazzi.
Yes. Now
flying coast to coast, doing press runs.
A lot of different things, yeah.
We're gonna get into a pretty good podcast today.
I'm excited.
Who is Jordan Levine today, and how young is he?
How young am I? Oh, 24 years young.
24 years young. Let's get it.
Recently 24.
Yep.
Feeling a little old though. The 23 or 24 thing,
come on.
That felt a little weird.
We're living good, bro.
Reason.
We're here in LA.
Good, but
you're out here on tour budgets. What's good, bro?
I feel you. Nah, 24 years young. Hoping to get out to LA a little more permanently, but right now, just bouncing around, seeing some cool places and enjoying life.
If a spot opens up at the content crib, you can take it. I'll kick Dylan on, but yo, Jordan's taking your spot.
Let Dylan know that he's got to take us up to the curb.
Yeah, keep it moving. You grew up in Vernon Hills?
Vernon Hills, yeah.
What's it like growing up there?
Shout
out to your mom for letting us crash there at the crib when we were coming through on the move out here. Karen, is it?
Karen.
Shout out to Karen. My mother's name is Karen too. So
are you serious?
I swear to God.
Oh my God. I think we went through that.
Yeah, that's great. That's how I think Karen's produced great sons. That's why
it must be something like that.
It must be something like that.
It's common.
So what's it like growing up out there?
Vernon Hills. I was actually born in New Jersey.
Okay.
I lived there till I was 4, and then so I don't really remember it that much. But I was born like Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Vernon Hills and lived in like the same town my whole life, but not the same house.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean it's a good spot, but it's mainly if you want to shop and you want to eat. Yeah. It's a great spot to be in. But if you want to do anything else, it's not really not the greatest.
It's a suburb right outside of Chicago. What?
Like 45 minutes, like northwest of Chicago.
So growing up, did you go into Chicago a lot, or is that?
Yeah, I mean we go every so often, but it was kind of like a special occasion thing more. So it wasn't like super common. I feel like now it's like we go all the time because like friends down there and all that kind of stuff.
That's where all the shows are. Yeah. You can take a train down there.
Yeah,
probably?
take an hour train or something like that, or like 45-minute drive, hour drive. But it's like it's such a common like commute that it doesn't even seem. Usually use like, an hour, no problem. But an hour anywhere else would have felt so long.
Well, out here in LA, people are driving 2 hours in their car every way.
12 miles.
Like, oh my God. Thank God I'm in like a workspace where I'm like, yo, people come to my crib. This is where I work out of, like the bedroom half studio. I'm kind of down with it because I don't have to drive anywhere.
Just roll right out of bed and you're good to go.
Roll up. I'm like good to go. It's like perfect. It's not bad at all. Talk to me about like early passions. Like, what were you into? I feel like
sports.
You were definitely an athlete.
Sports,
You were definitely an athlete.
I don't know if I was so much an athlete. I was really into sports though.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed playing
You were
sports.
willing to practice with a tank top. Like, what's up,
I've been
ladies?
playing
Yeah.
a lot. I played a lot of sports.
Okay.
I was very mediocre at sports, but I worked really hard and tried really hard.
What'd you play though?
I played
Basketball?
Yeah.
Soccer?
No,
not at all.
I'm like, it's embarrassing to watch.
I feel
me
like
try
water
to play
boy
soccer.
for football team.
Never played.
Never
football.
played?
I played 1 year of football as a wide receiver. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's in like 6th grade.
So basketball was the main gig.
Basketball and baseball. Baseball was really my main gig.
Okay.
Basketball I liked a lot, but
First baseman? No.
I'm way too small to be a first baseman. I pitched and I played shortstop.
Okay.
And then I like destroyed my shoulder.
You were a
so
fashball
I can't
type of
play.
guy? Or a couple
It
curveballs?
was really the circle change was my specialty. We had that one down to the T. I didn't really quite throw hard enough to get it past him, and my curveball wasn't really quite that great. But the circle change when that one was on, that was something special.
Yeah. You had a brother too, right?
Yeah.
Younger brother?
Yeah.
So just two of you growing up in the house?
Just 2 of us, yeah.
Did you like show him what's good growing up, or
we had a super interesting like dynamic. Like we weren't really that close until like he was like a junior, senior in high school, and I was like kind of a little bit in college, and then we kind of found some like similar interests, and it's really bonded from there. So now we're like homies and
you
stuff.
guys are like best boys now.
Yeah. It
How
was
far?
great.
Because you went to University of Iowa.
Correct.
How far of that was that of a drive between?
It's like 3.5 hours from
so
home. So it's perfect though.
So the
It's
distance
perfect.
brought you guys some love.
Well, yeah, but then he ended up going to Iowa, so it was like when I was a senior, he was a freshman, so I could teach him the ropes and stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
then he joined in the same fraternity, and
Did you love the fact of being far enough from home but still close enough where you could kind of go home if you needed to? Or did you always stay at school? Or
I mean, there were times where I wanted to go home and like check it and like just chill for a weekend, which was super convenient to be able to just make that drive or like, take a bus. But I don't think I would have wanted to go like much farther. Some of my friends went to Indiana, and that was like 5 hours, so which isn't even that much farther. But the drive like 5 to 3, like, I don't know, seems like a lot more.
Everyone out in the Midwest, man, it's a different breed. You guys got these flatlands. It's just nothing but miles and
dude.
miles,
You're
man.
just driving. That drive through Nebraska is like that's dangerous. Drove from like Chicago to Denver. And just like a road trip with a friend, and we drove through the night. And the time we drove through Nebraska was like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And was horrible.
All set with that.
Horrible. I don't know how I stayed.
We stopped in Omaha. Remember that?
Oh my god.
There was nothing.
Do you remember
for
that
miles.
show? Oh man.
Do you
that whole thing
remember?
was
I
nuts.
want to see if you remember this. So when we got to Omaha, I was driving the van. I'll never forget this.
Oh.
I'm driving the van, and I see probably 600 feet, maybe 1,000 feet away, there's a fire truck or an ambulance coming, and I'm coming from living in Boston. Like when you see an ambulance coming, you pull over when it gets kind of close because there's so much going on. And I remember, I don't know if it was you, Mason, or the van, but people were like screaming like, "Yo, pull over! There's a fire truck." I'm like, "Bro, it's all the way behind us," and you guys are screaming. I'm like, "Dude, I'm from Boston. Like I know how to drive these streets." But
those streets were pretty empty that night. I recall. It was like
this was during the day. This is when we were getting into. This is when we were getting in, and then we had to make a stop at the gas station because Branville needed his 40 ounce.
Yeah. What was he drinking? Cobras or something like that? Oh man, that was bad.
That tour was.
That was something else, man. That was like wow. I did the coaster with me.
Isn't that fire? Look at that.
Coasters.
I gotta get something figured out. It
sticks to the
happens
beard.
to every podcast. The coasters go up. And
No, that's a cool feature. That's a good
think so?
reaction. You let
It's a
everyone
nice
see,
little-
like, yeah.
Just keep people on their toes.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
yo,
Keep them in it.
What was the idea going into Iowa though? Like, why did you go there?
I was actually gonna go to Indiana, like right off the bat.
Okay.
I have
Pretty good choices.
I have no idea why. I just immediately was like, yeah, I'm gonna go there because when I got in, and then I kind of started like slow down and just like think about it, and I realized that I was going to Indiana just for like no reason, but I actually really enjoyed Iowa. I felt like it was a like more homey kind of town, and I could like just like really take some roots there for like 4 years and then enjoy my time and not feel like I was so like distant from everything. Everything was really close, and I felt like comfortable. I knew like my way around pretty easily, and I just felt really comfortable there, which was like a super big thing for me. It was just like finding a place that I could call home for 4 years and be comfortable.
How many students?
I think like 30,000 probably.
Jesus, bro, that's another city.
But it didn't seem like it was cool. It was like it was weird. Like I felt like you kind of like knew everybody there. Like you kind of knew everyone who you like wanted to know or like needed to know.
You were 100% Greek life, right?
Yeah,
100% like that.
But
you are like Jordan Levine was Greek life. I feel like you were the face of it.
No. I'm not like a super like frat star by any means. I like enjoyed like the brotherhood and stuff that came along with it and whatnot.
No, there's a lot of pros to that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're at a big school like that,
it helps like give you like a community and stuff
Yes.
like that to like relate to and stuff, which is super cool.
What changed the most about you within that 4 years?
Oh, a lot changed. That
18
was
to 22, that's a
crazy.
big,
oh man,
big change for me too. So.
I was actually voted most changed in high school too, which
Really?
is weird. Yeah, like I've been like really just maneuvering a lot.
Why did you get changed? What was it about high school at least then?
I think it was, well, I mean, I think in high school I just kind of stopped. Like I was really self-conscious when I started high school and like freshman, sophomore, junior year, but then like my senior year, I kind of started doing my own thing and really just not caring like what other people thought about what I was doing, because I started getting into the music thing, like the promotion thing, and like all that kind of stuff. And I just was like doing my own thing, my own style, and like listening to my own music, whatever I wanted. And like not everyone necessarily was on that vibe, but as the more I kind of went my own thing, people started to respect that and kind of fuck with me because I was confident enough in myself.
Yeah, you're carrying yourself like, yo, I'm literally gonna do this.
And then I feel like college, kind of the same thing happened. Like I felt like when I went into freshman year, I was kind of doing the same thing, trying to conform to all the other people that I was like going into my going to class with, or going into the pledge class with, my fraternity, just to like fit in, because it was kind of like an uncomfortable state. But then throughout the years, I started to like realize that I could do anything I wanted and not need to be like just like these people, and it didn't matter what those people thought, because like I could do something great and they might not understand it, but it doesn't mean it's not something special.
Yeah, because everybody's gonna have their own interests. So why am I gonna worry about what they care?
Exactly.
I need to do this at the end of the day for myself. When did you realize like this music passion? Because you're saying in high school you already had a taste of it. I'm guessing in college you kind of still like was working on it. Like what were you interested in? Why?
This is a good story. So when I was like 17, my junior year of high school, I was literally scrolling through Facebook one day, and I saw Cam Meekins had posted.
Hey, Cam Meekins,
let's
go! Episode 72.
And I saw that he had posted like a booking email, and so I just shot over an email like, "Yo, how much would it be to do a show? Want to do this and that? Never done a show before, just whatever."
This is you're emailing him, or
I emailed him.
Okay.
And 'cause I mean, I emailed whatever email he put up, whoever it was.
I'm gonna send it through.
Yeah, and so we're talking like about prices, this and that, and I like start a mock Facebook event and get like a ton of people on it, like start getting the hype up.
It's the best thing about being in college.
This isn't college. This is high school. This is junior year of high school. Okay. And so that the whole event like ended up falling through. Ended up just like losing touch with them. It didn't work out. So I ended up rebooting it with a different artist, and flew this artist out from out of town. It's his first ever out of state show, and brought like 185 people, and we ended up like losing me. I did it with me and my buddy, and we like ticketed the whole thing. We hosted it and marketed it. Like we were driving around delivering tickets. Like it was pretty crazy. Never done a show before, and just kind of
you just threw yourself in the environment.
Just threw this thing together. And brought like 185 people for this high school, from all of these high schools all over the northwest suburbs, and just really grinded it out. And we lost a bunch of money, but like I learned so much from it. And I kind of fell in love with the whole like concert aspect and just kind of the promotion and everything like that, and like filling a room with people for something that you kind of like brought together. Yeah, which I thought was super cool, and kind of networked through that and met people, and that's kind of what I thought I wanted to do at first, is be a promoter. And so I was trying to like get on more shows, book more shows, and help out promoting them, which is like. It leads to a whole bunch of other shit, but that's kind of where the whole thing started, and then just kind of continued to grow it.
I mean, that's the smart thing is you understand you like music, now just try a bunch of different things within the music and see what sticks, what doesn't. Because obviously we understand, you'll know better than me, but it's like people from the outside looking like, oh, I mean, promoting, management, it's all got to be the same thing. It's like, no. This is completely different.
Right.
TMing, then you got production managers, then you got the people that just run a venue. I mean, there's so many different aspects of it, but the best way to figure that out is kind of learn and try the different things. So how did you lock in this gig with Huey then? Where we met? We're love at first sight.
Huey Mack, the man, the myth, the legend. So we were, I had graduated school, and I really wanted to be a booking agent at the time, and so I was applying for like all these agency gigs and like trying to
in the Midwest.
No, in like out in LA, everywhere. I was sending emails every place, just trying to get in anything I could. I wanted to be an assistant, just like work my way up and climb the ladder and do that. Nothing was panning out, and I was literally at the gym one day, and I saw that Sammy Adams and Huey were going on tour together, and I had promoted a couple shows at Huey's in Iowa, and so we kind of knew each other a little bit. So I just decided I was gonna DM him and see what's up. And so I DM'd him basically this pitch, and I decided like basically pitch like, yo, I'll do whatever. I'll drive the van. I'll be merch. Do whatever you want me to do. I just want to get on the road and get some experience. And he hits me back. Like we're going back and forth for like probably like 3 weeks to like a month of like just him like hitting me back, then not hitting me back, and this and that, like
trying to play the game, like I don't need you, but I want you.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? So at the time, I was training to be a host at a restaurant.
Oh man!
And so I was like hating my life. So I was like, damn, I really don't want to be doing this. I want to be working in like the industry, this and that. And I'm at work one day, or not, I was at work, like hoping it was gonna pan out. Get to the last day of training, and I'm home for the weekend. And Huey texts me, he's like, "Yo, can you meet us in Boston?" And I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Absolutely." I was like, 100%. And so I hit work, and I was like, I called Boston, like, "Yo, I'm done."
You
like,
quit already?
Oh, I quit right away.
Yeah.
I was like, I finished training, and never went to a shift actually though. And I was like, I was so stoked.
How far out was this from like the actual Boston show? Was it like Huey hitting you on like a last minute or?
No, I had some time to plan. I had like probably a month or so.
Okay.
Just kind of like get things together. And so yeah, that
I
was
see you just like patiently like
dude,
waiting at home, like folding
that
your clothes.
was the
Like, okay, that's gonna be my
longest
tour
month.
bag. I don't know what else to do.
I was the most
but
excited human being alive.
I
because
believe
like
it.
my first ever concert was a Sammy Adams concert at the House of Blues in Chicago.
my God.
And so like the nostalgia.
You're just
it
like,
was
I'm about to do this every
I was like,
single
wow.
night.
It was just like, I thought that the whole thing coming full circle was wild.
I mean, that's kind of what's funny is that was kind of similar. What happened to me was this happened to you a couple months because you graduated 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So same thing with me is I graduated, didn't really have a plan. I was just kind of working odd jobs.
Exactly.
And then Dylan hit me with the tour, went on tour with that, and then while I was on the road with Dylan, that's when I found out the Huey gig, and I was like, or a futuristic gig, and I was like, oh word, and then got back from that, and then all of a sudden I was on the tour with you guys. So it was cool that I had even just those little 9-10 days that I knew I was gonna be on the road. It was like life to me. It was for 2 months I was like, all right, 55 days until I'm on the road for 4 days. You know what I mean?
I know,
Like it just fires you up.
It was a crazy experience of the first tour, and that was also the most like gruesome tour I've ever done. It was 21 shows in 23 days, and that was just
That's a grind.
It was,
and it was just a van, that
crazy.
black van.
Just a van, 7 dudes, 1 hotel room.
Well, does that count then we jumped in
And
with
then
you guys. So
jumped in, and
there was 9 of us.
You guys
for
sleeping on the
10
floor
days.
in the van. Yeah,
Dude, my God, that was honestly some of the greatest. I mean, some of the best.
Unbelievable.
I had so much fun with you guys because that was like the first time I was really on the open road.
Yeah.
I remember I drove. One of my shifts for driving was Kansas. It was like 6 a.m. to 10, and you guys are all passed out of the van. I'm just listening to music. I'm like, man, life is good. I'm just looking at the open road in Kansas. I see the sun rising. We pulled into the most random McDonald's of all time.
I remember
there's
this
people just sitting there
completely.
just reading their newspaper. I'm like, where'd y'all come from? Like, what is this what you do every Sunday? Like, just come to the local McDonald's and just chill. But
for miles there.
oh man, it was unbelievable. That whole just the middle of the country is just something different. What do you think?
Long drives.
Definitely. What do you think was the biggest takeaway then from that touring experience for you? Because that's the first time you ever got to go on the road. That's like stuff you wanted to dream to do.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I took away is like, I mean, I already knew going into it that it wasn't like all going to be a party, and then there is like work to be done, because that was something that like a lot of people had told me before I went on the road. And obviously it's something like wanting to be in the industry. I kind of knew that already. I wasn't in it just for the party.
Yeah.
But I think something I took away was mainly just like make people know, like do more than what you're expected to do. Don't just come out there and do everything that like do like the usual. I wasn't just setting up the merch table and like, okay, I'm gonna go chill and do whatever. Like I'm done. Like make yourself known. Like make yourself known to the people at the venue. Like get in people's ears. Like show your value. Like, show what you're worth, and then people will like respect that, and then hopefully put you on bigger situations.
Especially when
happened.
Especially when you're working with like Sammy's crew and knowing that it's their tour essentially. So it's like I need to almost impress these guys and be like, who's this guy that's just doing merch? Why is he so active and wanting to get
always
his name
do
out
more.
there?
Always try and learn, be a sponge, and like just like sometimes just listen. Like sometimes just get people, smart people in the room, and you just gotta like hear what they're saying and not always want to talk, because you're not always the smartest person in the room. You should never be the smartest person.
Never
in the
know.
room.
You gotta sit there and take it in from everybody else.
Yeah.
Was
exactly.
it so that tour wraps up? Was the next tour the JMSN tour or no?
No, the next tour was the Huey tour. I actually ended up going
So you went back on for
the Torment and Huey.
Okay.
I think it was like the Wild Winter tour. And it was like a January winter tour for Huey. And
Okay.
he asked me to.
So you bumped up from
the merch guy,
the merch
tour
guy.
manager.
Noah took a seat, took a back seat. He said, "I'm out of here. I can't do the TMing no more." And then you filled in as a tour manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
So yeah, that's another story. But okay, so that feels good then, knowing you went from the merch guy and now you're TMing.
That was fun. That was cool. It was a cool experience, kind of like getting to talk with Huey in general about like how it all happened. 'Cause I was so curious of what his thought process was of bringing me on from somebody who just DM'd him on Instagram and going on tour. And so hearing him say like, yeah, like I talked to a few people about you. They all said like you're cool and this and that. So I felt like I knew it was either gonna be really cool or like really weird. And like obviously it all worked out.
It took a little bit of a gamble. But
yeah, he's like a huge gamble. So like I like respect the fuck out of Huey for that, because I would never have like gotten to this point if I didn't have that first experience somewhere.
So was that then the JMSN tour? I'm trying because there's
it goes
the gap I don't have is
it was a couple of Huey tours and then I was literally, so what had happened was I was like in a kind of a rut. Huey wasn't touring at the time, and I was just firing off cold emails everywhere, like any managers trying to get on any kind of gigs as far as tour manager, production, like assistant,
anything,
merch guy, whatever it was. And so Huey had the show out in Colorado, and so we did went out and did the gig, and I was flying. I'm on my way to the airport the next day, flying back. And I got this email from JMSN, and it was like, "Hey, our tour manager backed out like last minute. Do you want to do this gig?" And I was like, "Absolutely." It was in 2 weeks. It was 23 shows in 34 days, and it was a full band, and I had never done a full band before, and I was like, "Absolutely, like, let's do it." Yeah. And so then we kind of like worked out all the details of that, and then JMSN was like, "That's where I'm so thankful that."
Was that like the break-in? Because I mean, he has a lot of eyeballs. I mean. Well, definitely has a lot of eyeballs paying attention to him.
That and just like I learned so much on that tour because I was forced to like just be. I was forced to literally just pick things up as I was going because I had to learn how to like work with the full band, how to work with like just sending out things as simple as like sending out day sheets to the crew at night and like advancing with the venues properly and making sure they had parking for us and making sure they had all the like the stands we need and all that kind of shit. And then that was the first time we started doing some press stuff and like. Just learning all this stuff on the fly was really how I kind of learned how to tour. Like we were the most gruesome tour.
I was gonna say, was it stressful at times, or are you kind of just going with the flow and kind of you were probably stressed?
It was super stressful, but like it was awesome.
Okay,
but it was super stressful, but I was like knew that it was gonna be a challenge going into it, and I knew that like they were like expecting me to. I know they were a little nervous putting me on it at first because like they weren't planning on having me be there originally. It was like a last minute thing. Of course you're gonna be nervous bringing somebody new into the team, and so I was like knew that I wanted to impress these people and show them that I could pick up whatever they threw at me, and so that was kind of how I took it. And then by the end of it, it was like. I felt so confident and like that I had learned so much that I could go take on other gigs and feel confident knowing what I was doing.
Yeah, because the big difference when you're touring with Huey, it was just the DJ. It was just brand setting up all
simple,
plug in and boom and you're good to go. But now you got a full band, you got all these different.
And he's headlining and it's like the shows are ours and like there's a lot of people that are coming out to these things and
they're asking you. You're the one you're the point of contact. Once Jameson gets there, he's the artist. He don't have to do nothing. He's chilling in the green room.
Right.
That is all.
And there's no sound guys on tour with us. It was literally just me, our merch guy, and the band, Jameson. And that was it. And so it was kind of me and our merch guy just like went after it and just crushed it together.
Sometimes that's the best way to learn everything because I'm sure, like you just said, like all of those, you got to see everything in that form. So then when you get to the next position of like really TMing, it's like the sound guy, what his responsibilities are, exactly the roles and kind of what people should be doing at what time.
And like Jameson's manager is like the absolute dude. Like he helped me, like he linked me up with some other people that, like. He ended up linking me with Quincy's manager, which is how I worked with Quincy. And then
I forgot about that.
And then I got to do the show with Quincy, and that's how I met some people from G's camp, and then that's how that whole thing, like it all kind of like spiraled from there. So,
wow, yeah, because from Jameson, I don't know, I don't remember what happened, and I tried finding it, but it's a little tough because you're not a content poster like B.O.B. on the gram, but the Jameson to Witt Lowry, I didn't know what was. I remember there was a
Quincy's show, just like it was one gig at the Fonda, and it was like. That was just an incredible look into like.
That's a huge look.
It was just incredible looking just to like that life and just to see what it's like people with that level, what they kind of like can work with and what your options are, and kind of just some of the things that they're looking for at that level. So you kind of have like a look into the upper echelon, I guess, in a little bit because like, you're working with Diddy's kids, so you're like things are a little crazy.
Yeah, I was at Diddy's crib a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, Uber. I picked up one of his homies that like lives and like watches over the house, and it took me like 15 minutes on the ride for the guy to finally fess up because he was like explaining who he lives with, and obviously I knew he wasn't just gonna blatantly tell me. He's like, he has, he's on TV all the time. This is his net worth, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to put it together, and then finally he's just like, Diddy, and I was like, what? What? Diddy? I was like, yo, that's dope. I could not plan this with Witt Lowry tour. 34 nationwide, 10 European.
Yeah, it was 10 European?
Yeah, that's what I counted. I'm just going based on what I saw on the flyers. There could have been more after or posted, but still, we got nationwide and we got Europe.
It was crazy.
What were you nervous about going into this tour? Because now this is large scale.
That was the first tour I was running lights on. Like I was doing a little bit of like setting up lights and helping like all the cabling.
Still tour managing. That was you were TMing that. Okay.
Yeah, TMing it. But then I had we had all the lights to run and stuff like that as well, and so I was kind of in charge of that. And we had no lighting guy on tour with us, so if anything was wrong, it was gonna be on me.
Jordan Levine.
And so it was like just some stressful times when we were plugging stuff in. We're like, shit, it's not working. And we were like, oh, what are we gonna do here? So we had to recable some things, but we also brought on some help. We had my buddy Foley there, and he was helping like just on the stage, getting everything cabled, which was really helpful. But I learned a lot about just problem solving and troubleshooting, and never to like worry too much, because like a lot of times we go in these venues, sometimes it was too small to fit the 6-foot trusses we had, and so we had to adjust where we're putting the lights or build the stage differently for the different venues. So I was nervous about that, having the full production, and working with a new artist that I wasn't really like tight with before. I kind of met him like.
So you kind of met him and hopped down the road with him.
Well, yeah, basically like, we had a phone call before before we locked in to do the gig, and just like talked for like an hour and a half about some things. And, like we kind of like fuck with each other, and so then he's like, yeah, do you want to come on the road? I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we did it, and it was it was just a crazy experience seeing how like passionate his fans are, and working with somebody who has like such a cult following, and like meet and greets 100 people a night. Like,
what was dope was when you guys were in LA, you guys were at the Sour Patch House.
The Patch House.
We came and met you guys there, but what I think I talked to Witt for maybe 5 minutes that night, but what I told him was it was cool because Dylan had done a show with him years ago.
Right.
And I remember just this dude Witt, who, I mean, he did a show in, I think it was Rhode Island at the time, and there was a good amount of people, but then I'm looking at pictures from this tour and it's sold out and there's 500 people, 400 people. It's like, man, this guy really like took off.
Definitely.
Did you guys get a lot of that stuff, like random, like the Sour Patch, like artists don't just get randomly invited to stay at the Sour Patch House. You know what I mean? Like, that's one instance in LA, like, where there are a lot of other things that are kind of popping up along the road, or?
Kind of. I mean, like, we had, like, we could have stayed at the Patch House in New York was like, under construction, I think, at the time, so we didn't stay there. But we did something at a place called The Outpost in El Paso, which is kind of like a sister company of sister deal of the Patch House. And so that was pretty cool. But just, like, a lot of like cool little fan moments and stuff like that, mainly on tour, and just a lot of passion.
People would be crying at those shows, right? Like, I even saw videos. I think of him. He really gets into the music, which is dope. Like, that's what you want to see.
Yeah,
you don't want to. I mean, I see some of these artists that go up there, they sing their songs, and they get off. But it's like when you could see somebody so emotionally connected to the music, it's like
definitely that's priceless. Into it. And just so many. That was a long tour. Like, it was like 6 weeks, and then we had a couple of weeks off, and then went to Europe, and so. Yeah, that was just a grind, and like doing Europe for the first time was definitely stressful too.
I won't say anything specific, but I remember when we met at the Sour Patch House, you were kind of venting to me about it. You were stressing out. I'm like, come to Bobbbaaaay, let's hear it. Let me hear it.
LA shows are get the best of you, man. Let me tell you, sometimes. But no, that was fun, and I think Europe was a cool challenge because I'd never done a bus tour, and we got the.
You're in Europe, bro.
Yeah, we were in Europe.
You're in Europe. This is like.
So I was like, shit.
15 months after you were just doing merch, and now you're in Europe on a bus tour, bro. Like,
I learned a lot the first day when the bus driver got there and told me how many hours he could drive in a day, and I was like, oh, you can only do that many. That's gonna affect my travel plans a little bit.
Why, they're like limited 8?
Yeah, it's all different than the U.S. They need like certain hours. Only certain hours they can drive, and they have to have the bus parked for X amount of hours. And like if you're 10 minutes from the venue, they'll stop the bus right there and be like, wow. That's it.
European. I
think
that's
parking that thing in Europe is crazy.
What'd you say?
Just parking on the bus. There's no place to park that
right?
thing in Europe. Everything is literally like next to each other.
I know.
It's bananas.
Well, the buses too, right? Like that bus wouldn't be the same size as it is in the U.S. It's smaller because the European.
Is it?
I don't know. I thought
there's no slides.
I thought cars have to be a little bit thinner than.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. I've never been. Let me get a tape measure next time. I've never been to Europe, so I don't know. But I'm going based on what I thought people would tell me. What's the best story you have from Europe that you can say? I don't want you to get the flown in.
Wow,
what's the best story?
I mean, one of the most honestly, the UK was crazy. We went to the whole like 4 shows in the UK, like Glasgow, we did Manchester, Birmingham, London, and so they're all sold out, and it's sold out way in advance. I think we did like we upgraded the venues multiple times in these places, and that was just an insane experience to keep going day after day and seeing so many people out there just going bananas. And then like Live Nation gave us a cake and like bottle champagne afterwards.
Champagne right at the end of the tour.
So it wasn't even the end of the tour. It was like we still had a bunch of it left, and we were going. It was just so much fun, and being on the bus afterwards, everybody just excited about what had happened. We were happy as hell.
Yeah, and you guys had a good crew. It seemed like. I mean, at least from what I had seen, and that was in LA, so that was probably early in the nationwide tour. But you guys seemed to kind of all fit your roles, and it wasn't like this disconnect. And I mean, I think that's the cool thing about touring for people that have never been on the road or never will. It's like you will meet strangers, and within 3 days, you are like best friends because you eat, sleep, you everything with people for 24 hours. So you know everything, and then in like a week, you're like, I want to literally kill this person.
Oh, I know. It's like you don't talk when you're outdoors. Like unwritten rule. Like, no, this is important business.
That shit is crazy, man. The Beautiful and Damn tour was the next tour after that, right?
Yeah.
With little G-Eazy.
Yeah, that was.
How did that happen? Because that happened like last minute. Like I think they had the first show, and then all of a sudden I see you post something on the gram like, "Yo, heading to." little flyer drop, like, yo, heading to the airport, about to hop on this tour. I'm like, word, just a quick G-Eazy tour, like no big deal.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Nuts.
Oh man, I've never experienced anything like that. That was probably hands down the craziest experience of my entire life.
Really?
I had done a little bit of work with them on some of the release parties that they were doing for the album, and so like in Chicago I helped out. And
they did a lot of those pop-ups, right?
Yeah, they were the pop-ups, and so I was helping with like the scheduling and some of that kind of stuff for the I helped out with the Chicago one on site, and then I was helping scheduling and some other ones. Mm-hmm. And I literally got a text like from one of G's managers,
Jamil,
my buddy, Jamil.
My buddy Jamil.
So Jamil texted me on like Sunday, and he's like, "Yo, do you want to come out and do this be the assistant TM for G on this tour?" And I was like, "Aren't they like 3 days into this tour?" I was like, "Aren't they 3 shows in?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Like, let's do it." And flew out the next day to Phoenix, and just on a whim, and just like literally hit the ground running. Like the next day I woke up, got to the venue at 8 a.m. and just went at it. And I've never like experienced any kind of tour like anything like. I mean, that was the biggest tour obviously that I've ever done.
It's a big level, right?
By far, we're doing like 4,000 to 6,000 people a night, and so this shit was.
You want to talk about a sea of people?
Yeah, this was crazy.
I mean, how big of a production is that? You guys are running like a couple tour buses,
4 buses, 3 trucks.
Like trucks as in 18-wheelers, right?
18, yeah, 53 footers, yeah, semi trucks.
So
yeah, this was I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
You're coming off the Witt tour like, I'm running the show, everybody. Like,
oh, I mean, I knew that wasn't going to be the case, but like, I had no idea how much work. Like, you've no idea how much goes into those kind of like those concerts and those productions, and how long people are working to get that shit perfect before you get out there. Like,
because they gotta make sure every single thing is running perfectly.
And like, even on like, especially and that's just for the normal shows. You put in like the LA shows, the New York shows. You're adding pyro, like. You're loading. It's just bananas. Everybody and their mother's trying to come out. So it's like, especially like I was a production coordinator on it essentially, and so I'm running like handling the guest list and things like that, and guest lists for like a New York and LA G-Eazy show. Like you can imagine, that's
some big names.
That's not even the big names, big numbers. There's a lot of people coming. There's a lot of people, and it's like a lot of A-list, a lot of people that you're working to like make sure are accommodated perfectly, and you don't want them to have any hiccups getting in. If the name's not on the list, you're gonna have big problems, and so you're just running around like a madman. I remember I did 37,000 steps at the Shrine the night of the show at the Shrine.
How many miles is that?
It was 15.2 miles.
15 miles, bro?
Yeah.
You're running around that much?
Because the production office was across the stage, and there's the production office and then a theater and then the expo hall that had the stage in it. So I had to go across the stage every time I wanted to go to the actual stage. And
so you were running around a lot on this tour.
Yeah, just running. A lot of running.
Did you regret it at all? Or
No,
you just
absolutely not. I learned so much because you just had no choice but to be on point, and no choice but just be like learn to be a sponge. Like you had to learn real quick and real like just be on point, because if you weren't, you're gonna be left behind.
I mean, you pull up to you sleep on the bus or whatever. You get to the next venue for the next show. Like, are you literally running? I think you explained it to me when I had talked to you after the tour, and it was the last time you were in LA. I was asking you about it, but. Like, you were literally getting up at, 9 a.m. and just 8 a.m., 7 earlier?
You basically finish the show, you're loading out. You get you're on the bus, hopefully around 1:30.
Okay.
And we're loading in 7 a.m.
7 a.m.?
7 a.m.
Bro, what?
So, yeah. So, you're sleeping it's like a standard 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. And you wake up at the venue, you roll out of your bunk, put your clothes on.
7 a.m. they're starting.
And you're going at it.
Because
you set up the stage, and they're setting up all day. They're rigging stuff, hanging stuff from the ceiling. You know, they're bringing in the stage sometimes. They're bringing in PA sometimes. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. I mean, you have 3 buses just to crew people, and then G's bus. And it's like,
G had his own, of course.
Well,
right?
I mean, his media people, but like it's just. It's crazy.
Because you're running around like a madman.
Yeah, because like you're kind of involved as like the production coordinator. You're kind of involved in everything. You have a hand in everything, and everyone kind of looks to you for like anything they need, because like I was in charge of the runners, so people who are going around doing like picking up different things for us, whether it's food or supplies or anything we can need around.
Venue supply you that, right? Don't they supply you runners?
Yeah, they supply the runners with like with the vans and everything. So I'm coordinating pickups, you're coordinating driver drop-offs, you're coordinating food pickups, it's dry cleaning, all this stuff for like the entire crew all day, and on top of that, doing your other duties. So it's a lot of time management, and that's kind of how you just learn so much, because you're taking on so much and you have to figure out a way to like dissect it and get it all done in a timely fashion.
I have a good feeling you've
cool.
gotten pretty good at Microsoft Excel. I'm gonna take a guess.
I mean, there's a lot of Excel, but honestly, like this is the craziest thing. One day I got reamed. I messed up a little laundry situation that was not ideal. And I remember our production manager said, he's like, dude, just carry around a fucking clipboard and write shit down. And I was like, thought it was the stupidest thing. I was like, I have it in my phone. I'll write it down on my phone. He's like, it's not the same. Just write it down. Yeah. So for the rest of the tour, I had a clipboard every day. I wrote everything down. Didn't miss anything, because I see it right there, and if I get it done, I cross it off. I'm like, that was such a the littlest tip, but so helpful.
Yeah, because you're visually seeing it, and then you're writing it down, you're crossing it off when it's complete. And if it's
still there at the end of the day, I know, like, okay, I gotta get that done. Like, I gotta make sure I get it done.
I think it's easy to forget to text or to type it out, or something happens and you put it in your phone and it erases.
Yeah, I don't look at my notes, whatever. But if my to-do is sitting on my desk all day, like, you'll see that, you'll never forget it. And I think that's just such a key organization, especially when you have so many tasks going on.
Take notes. Take notes.
Down.
I'm sure you're taking a lot of notes at University of Iowa, right?
Yeah. I spent like my senior year, I think I spent all my classes applying for jobs, sending emails. Wow. I was just like, then I go through and read the PowerPoints after, but I was just sending emails the entire class.
You're smart, man. I didn't send one email because I was not. There was no job, there was no idea of what I wanted to do, so it was a little bit different. You ended up going on tour with Camila Cabello, right? Cabello. That was Never Be the Same tour, and that's when you connected with Bazzi.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Did you send him a little Instagram DM saying, "Hey, Bazzi, I'm a big fan"?
Super interesting. I was supposed to go out with another artist from the same label as Baz, and that didn't end up panning out. But we had the same production manager who was gonna do both of them, and so I was on the G tour, and one night got his email like from a production manager guy, and he's like, "Yo, we should do this Bazzi tour. It's gonna be huge. I can do the production with the tour management. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. Let's try it." So he emails the chick from the label who he knows, and she's like, "Yeah, absolutely. Love to have you. You guys want to do it for this, this, and this?" And we're like, "Yeah, cool." Literally 3 emails, and the gig was locked in, and we were like,
"You're like,
what?
Thank you."
It was crazy because I wasn't even literally looking at my email at the time. I was in the middle of stuff. I quickly just replied like, "Yeah, I'm down." And then the next thing I knew, I looked at the email, and I was like,
offers there.
I got a gig.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got a job.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting because then as things started to wrap up, like we had the G tours going to Europe, and I was like, what am I gonna do?
Oh, so you had to make a decision whether you're gonna do this or do that.
Yeah. So I kind of had to make a decision there. Yeah, that was a really crazy experience how they kind of like all came together.
Yeah. So how has that been working with him? Because I know you're about to be going on the road, but he just got done. I mean, you guys were literally flying over doing all these like press runs. He's 20 years young, so it's ideal, like similar in age.
Yeah.
12.1 million monthly on Spotify right now, like legit superstar. If you want to, I mean, I'm driving the Uber streets of LA and every other station on Sirius Radio, Bazzi. So he's like, I think literally that's like the best case scenario for you right now. You did Jimmy Kimmel with him. I mean, you guys are literally doing everything.
Yeah.
So what's it been for you, like, working with him? Do you enjoy it? Is this, I mean, obviously you're going to say yes because I recorded, but, like, I feel like that's got to be a great relationship.
Yeah. I mean, Bazzi's, like, an incredible kid. This kid is a superstar, like you said. And, like, he acts like a superstar. He runs like a superstar. He carries himself like one. And it's a great relationship we have. We have a really good dynamic. We kind of, like, figure each other out pretty quickly. And, like, I know what he likes. He knows what to expect from me. I know what to expect from him. And, like, kind of just figured out quickly how to work around him and how to make him happy. And that was super helpful. So, I mean, I love working with him. I'm super passionate about him and like his journey and like his music and all that kind of stuff. And so
where's he from?
It's gonna be a fun time. He's from Canton, Michigan.
Okay.
Canton, Michigan, just outside of Detroit.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of people he's from Detroit.
This seems more of like a full-time gig. Is that kind of where it's going towards?
Yeah, it was so funny. So this gig was supposed to be like originally the plan was to come out here and do like the Camila Cabello tour and like leave for partway through it to go to Europe, and then as soon as I got out here, saw the schedule for Bazzi, and I was like, oh, we're never going home. I was like, oh, and I was like, so I immediately like went full time Baz because like, really just committed to him and wanted to go full in on that, and so we've been pretty much running since March, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Whenever the Camila tour started. Run since then, really nonstop. I've had home like maybe 2 weeks time off or something.
So you've just been flying around a bunch.
Yeah, it's been really wild. He's super busy and just works super hard.
That's got to be just so much more easier because now you're not constantly like, oh, this tour's ending. Now I got to look for the next gig. That's got to be the most stressful part.
That was the most stressful part, and now it's super nice to be able to just know that there's gigs for it now. I mean, no job is ever like obviously safe.
Yeah.
You're always on the chopping block technically, and so it's good to have like consistent work and know that like they fuck with me, I fuck with them, and then we have a good relationship building, and like everything is kind of going in the right direction.
And you're catching an artist at like the point of like he's like, you know, he did the show at Apple. Like, give me the rundown. In the last couple months, you guys did a show at Apple, New York. What else?
He's the Apple Up Next artist, and so we did like a showcase there. We've done like this. I don't know what I can say about that. We did Ellen, we did Kimmel. We're doing some other appearances. And
you got to plug for me at Ellen. I'm trying to get on there, bro.
Yeah, shout out Ellen.
Get me on there, Ellen.
No, we did a lot of cool stuff, and he's just been working really hard and making his rounds and all the press stuff, and that's why we hear the song on the radio so much, and just been really putting the work in.
Yeah.
So.
And this tour coming up, that is the Cosmic Tour. And then in between, there's going to be a bunch of festivals in between, right?
Yeah, we're running 3 festivals. We're going to do Faded in the Park in Vancouver. We're going to do Oshiega in Montreal. And then we're going to hit Lollapalooza in Chicago.
You're pumped for that, right?
Super pumped for that.
You are pumped for
waiting
that.
years to do a show.
He's got a good spot for that, too, right?
7:45.
Oh, man. That's like prime time. Yeah, because it was Cardi B's, right? She had to... Wasn't that used to be... Didn't she have a spot? Or maybe Mason didn't know what the hell he's talking about.
I don't know.
I thought
we've been on lineup the whole time.
Okay, sometimes Mason, he didn't even know what he's talking about. He had said something maybe that she had the spot and then she had to drop it.
She did drop out and somebody did fill her spot, but it wasn't Boss.
No,
but
he already had it locked in.
I think she did. Maybe she did fill it. I don't know. I don't know the Cardi situation, to be honest.
Yeah.
But she was on Ellen with us, and she was absolutely hysterical.
She was crazy?
She's a funny
she's got the high energy, man. I feel like she's like...
I was cracking up.
She just bees who she is, and she don't care what anybody has to say. Like, she's just gonna keep it real with you.
That's pretty factual.
Man, that's gonna be amazing, man. Bazzi, man.
Bazzi's a hell of a kid.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys at the LA show. Hopefully, that'll be a good time.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. We've been rehearsing for that now.
Yeah, that's what the last thing I wanted to ask about that was that whole production. Right now, you were talking to me about beforehand before we fired this up, but
keep the production on the low key.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk any specifics, but it sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. This is gonna be like the craziest production these size rooms have ever seen. Yeah, it's basically the Bazzi Stadium tour in the clubs. It's gonna be insane. People are gonna leave there pretty shook.
And this is like 1,200 person venues, 1,500.
Yeah, 1,200 people.
My God, bro,
where
you've just been climbing. You know what I mean? Like you've just been climbing and climbing from the merch days of Huey Mack, and that's no disrespect, but that's literally like where you started just doing merch, and now we were just talking about before the pod, like we met. Probably, I think it would have been, we met like September 11th, September 12th. That's when we met around 2016. So at that point, I literally had
2 years. Hasn't even been 2 years.
It'll be 2 years this fall. Yeah. But that's when I had like the second or third episode out. So it's like, it's crazy because I think about what I've accomplished in that time. And then looking at you, it's like, bro, it's like unbelievable that you've been able to shoot up and now you're at Bazzi, and this seems like more of like the spot you need to be in. And that's some bigger news are gonna roll out in the next couple of months, folks. Yeah. You're gonna be like, damn, this dude really about to blow up. So it's pretty dope.
I think you should stop playing cards right.
Yeah, you just gotta play the cards right. Yeah. Wasted Potential. It's a all around design and management company. Worked with Migos, Bryson Tiller, Logic, Party Next Door.
Yeah.
How did you what's the deal with that?
Oh man, Wasted Potential. That is like. Shout out Wasted Potential forever.
Shout out. This episode is brought to you by Wasted Potential.
No, so 2 guys, Chad Fellows, Jake Reeder, they started it in Chicago.
Oh, Jake Reeder too?
Yeah, Jake was part of the OG.
Yo, Jake, I've been trying to get you on the pod, bro. Come to LA. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they started it in Chicago, and so when I was starting to promote shows in high school, they were like booking concerts in Chicago, and so I was basically hitting them up to help like promote it and sell tickets and do whatever I could, flyers, anything. And so like I was helping out with that. And then when I went to college, Chad hit me up and was like, yo, I need an investor, someone to help out with this kidding show at Illinois State. Do you want to help? And I was like, yeah, sure. So like, we invested in it and promoted the whole thing. Like that's the first time I made some money off music.
You loved it.
So I was stoked. I was like, wow, that's the most money I ever made. And so I wanted to keep doing it. And like me and Chad just kind of like always stayed in touch. And Jake kind of went more to like the graphic design route, like as you know. Yeah. And
he designed the logo, the cover art.
Yep, there you go. And the
brought
character.
to you by Jake Reeder right here. If you're watching visually, you can see this beautiful bearded face that Jake Reeder drew up himself.
Yep.
Anyway.
Where was I?
Jake Reeder, the show, you made some money off the show.
Yes. So then me and Chad kept in touch, and like we didn't really see each other that much, but whenever like we'd always be talking, and there was a couple times we almost did gigs together. Like, he was trying to get me a gig and didn't work out, but then finally this Witt Lowry thing pans out, and I saw Chad at the first show in Philadelphia. It's literally the first time I'd seen him in like 2 years, but we'd always been in touch, like never lost touch. And so then it felt like it was like supernatural, and now we're like homies, and he's doing the production and all the lighting and stage design for Bazzi now, and so we're going. He's heading on the tour with us.
Damn, that's pretty dope.
Now we got Waste Potential on the tour management. We got him on the stage management with Foley.
You guys about to build like an empire right now.
That's the idea. So they're just kind of staffing a bunch of like. We got a bunch of graphic designers. We got video guys. We got all kinds of content guys who can really just
do everything anything within music, pretty much.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, we want to be a full service, kind of creative agency, a place where managers can feel comfortable bringing the artists to have like everything done for a tour, whether it's or even music videos, whether it's lighting or whether it's stage design or whether it's production management. It's anything. It's full service.
What's the goal for you? What are you like working towards?
That's such an interesting like question, and I used to have like a good answer for that, and like as things have kind of been going the past like year or so, everything's been changing so fast that I kind of like just want to live in the present and just like enjoy this ride and see where it can take me, and then kind of like decide where I want to go. I don't really know if there's like an end goal. I say right now, like originally I wanted to be an agent, and now I'm like, do I really want to do that, or I want to keep? I love working with artists directly, and so I kind of want to maybe like work my way to being day-to-day manager of somebody maybe, but like. I kind of just love where I'm at right now and love what I'm doing and want to just keep riding the wave and just, see where it goes, live in the present.
Yeah, and this is the time to do all the traveling, right? Like, I feel like, you don't need to, that's the thing, especially with looking back at what's happened in the past year, you definitely didn't know you were going to end up touring with Bazzi and flying around like this. So it's like, what could happen in a year from now? Exactly. It could be something even bigger. Yeah. But it's also great to just say, I'm not even going to worry because I know that things are going to pop up and I'm going to try different things as this kind of rolls out. But I'm always curious because I feel like it's at least somebody in your position who's doing a lot of TMing, definitely getting their feet wet with all like the music production and stuff. It's like, is Jordan working towards maybe one day starting his own gig, or is he working towards maybe like managing an artist, Because I would imagine, I think what you're doing, like the role you're doing is this is like to be 24 and doing this is prime time. Yeah. But I would imagine at like maybe 28, you're going to be like, okay, I have flown to every state. I've flown to every city. But
I kind of just love it. Like, honestly, like forgot, like I haven't really been home since January because I'm kind of just like always in like road mode.
And you go home for what, like 2 days at most? So you just stay home, like a week. Say what up to the Rens.
Yeah, I've been home for like.
Go to that breakfast shop that we went to.
Yeah. I think 2 weeks is like the longest I've been home, and I was like, it felt like forever. It was crazy because I'm so used to like every hour of the day like being organized by me, and then it's like when I have nothing to do, I'm like, what do I do with my time? Yeah. And so it's just real weird.
It's not bad when you get to go to like these major cities too. You're here for a week or two, then you're flying to New York, going there. It's like you're staying around, you're staying busy. It's
really fun to like get into a groove and get to do this like super full time. It was really hard when it was like kind of like stop and go, and it's like you can't really get into the groove and really feel like you're always on point because when you get that break, you kind of lose focus for a minute, and then it's hard to get back in the mode. But like you're grinding all the way through, then you kind of.
You had said something earlier about when we were talking about the Sammy Adams Huey tour and kind of trying to give value to a lot of people. But for people that are listening, to really like narrow it down, how do you build relationship with the right people without seeming desperate or like a force?
I think it's about asking the right questions and just like being the right. It's about timing. I think I really think timing is everything. If you just kind of like pop up out of nowhere and start asking people questions, they might think it's a little strange. But if you just happen to make yourself available around the right people and ease your way in, that's kind of the best way to do it. Like I think people get weird, like turned off by somebody who's too comfortable too quick. I feel like a lot of times if you like that like uncomfortability is kind of people sometimes people like that. They like to let people feel like you got to read the people. It's all reading somebody and finding out like common things and kind of finding a way to relate to them. Yeah. So you can find a way to work your way in without like seeming like you're just trying to come at them for a job.
Yeah, I know that's the toughest thing because it's like, especially with what you're trying to do, you have to like get on people about like, yo, I'm available, I'll do whatever you want. But at the same time, how are they going to trust you if you have no resume? And now it's easier because you're like, I've toured with X, Y, and Z. I've done this, I've done that. So it's a little bit easier. But I feel like a lot of time people don't realize they got to do a lot of the bullshit work to build a resume to then even bother reaching out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think like in the beginning, it's about more like pitching like the intangibles, like the things that you have, you possess, and like your personality and your character, and like people will respect the fuck out of that.
Yeah,
you might not have those gigs or those like tours under your belt, but you find somebody who's really willing to learn and like grind and put the work in. They're not in it for like the clout or for the money or for any of that kind of shit. Like those are the people that you're not going to be successful, and those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. And I think like whenever I was emailing managers, like no matter what it was about, like I would always just picture myself and like the fact that I had passion, and that I was like, I would do anything for it. I'll drive the van, I'll sell merch, I'll do whatever you want. And like I think people kind of like respect that.
Yeah,
and, like I would like follow up hitting people up multiple times. Like I hit Jamil so many times like in the past, like for like gigs and stuff like that.
And
Finally
did he ever respond?
No,
but you still kept going.
It was so funny. We were on FaceTime one day, and he was trying to find an email from me, and he typed in my email on his like email, and he saw like all the like 4 or 5 other emails I'd sent over the past years, like past like 3 or 4 years. And he's like, oh my God. He's like reading them, and I was like, damn. Like it was just so weird, crazy to see how all of it came full circle.
Consistency,
like,
man.
I remember tweeting like when I was in college, like all I wanted to do was work on like a G-Eazy tour or something like that, and like cause I had seen the way their camp worked and how like hard they worked, and I wanted to be a part of it. And to see it come full circle years later was just
and you're
like
FaceTiming with them, you know what I mean? Like,
dude,
crazy. That's unbelievable.
I thought it was super cool.
That's so cool. What's been the best piece of advice you've ever received? And who was it from?
Best piece of advice. I think it was from Chad. Waste Potential, man. He like is just like mentor like in the industry. Is like everything goes, and just like anytime I'm like super serious question about a job, or like when I was trying to find internships back in college, I always come to him, and he was always talked about like longevity and not always going for like the quick fix or the quick gig or the quick money or anything like that, and like seeing the like long term of things. And that's super important because it's easy to like when you're down to jump at something that's going to give you a lot of money really quick, or something that might help you in the short term. But if it like you have to look at the long term things and kind of like understand that maybe you're taking a gamble by not taking that sure thing right away. But when you roll the dice, it usually pans out. And so honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's from Chad. But my other biggest piece of advice is from Eric Murphy from Entourage. Roll the dice.
What was the piece of advice?
Roll the dice.
Oh, roll the dice.
Roll the dice. From him and Vinny, when they're like, do we invest all our money into this movie and they say fuck it, and then like, we roll the dice, and like roll the dice. And that shit like always. That's my favorite show of all time.
This episode won't roll out until the week after. Or this one. By the time this one will roll out, it won't be the same. But what's funny is that the last week's episode was with Sabina Gadecki, who was in Entourage, so that's why we're sitting here chuckling about that. But,
that is funny.
I mean, you do have to roll a dice. Like that's what it comes down to. It's like none of this. I just posted something earlier today about a vlog. It was like how I started the podcast and why I started. But it's like you're not supposed to have like a blueprint. Like nobody has a blueprint to how to do things. And even the people that have been successful at doing the thing that you're trying to do, that's not necessarily going to work for you. So you have to just kind of roll the dice and obviously make smart decisions based on what you're trying to do. But
for sure, I mean, like, I think over this past like 6 months for me especially, there's been a lot of like different opportunities that have come up in different like things where I had to like make a decision of this or that and roll the dice.
Yeah,
like, there are things where like a quick like fix, quick like gig I would have had right away, but it would have been losing something in the long term, so it wasn't like worth it, or like What
are the musts in your day-to-day routine? I know it's probably tough with traveling all the time, but like, are there things that you definitely need to do? I know you're a big fitness guy. You like getting in the gym, flexing for the ladies. But what are there any like absolute musts in your day-to-day? Whether podcasting, music, honestly, poking the smoke.
It sounds so stupid. It's like I don't even have like a daily routine because my like I don't.
It's not
every
even,
day is so
thing.
different.
It's not the thing is what I'm saying is it's not. It doesn't have to be a daily routine. Like at 6 a.m. I get up and then 10 p.m. I'm in the gym. I know for your lifestyle it's absolutely not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not possible.
But like, what are the things that you need to do in a day? Like I need to work out every day.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I eat good. Like what are the musts for Jordan Levine?
I really just need my laptop and I need some time alone, like some space.
Okay.
Like,
so you like having your own personal space. Like I need to just crank out
a
work.
little bit of time. Like I just put my headphones on and just go to work. Like I think that's like a super like essential thing in the day. If I'm like surrounded by people at all times, I can't like necessarily get work done. But if I can just sit around for a minute, like, lock in for like an hour and a half or two, like that'll be great just to get some work done.
Yeah,
but
I can't just like lay in my bed and email and stuff. Like I need to be sitting up like in a stance with a nice coffee or something. Like that's the only way I can actually get things done.
Shower. I have to shower every day.
100%.
In the morning. For
yes.
sure. Before I start
it wakes you up.
I can't like
don't understand how people can go the whole day. I mean, I get. Well, I don't get it. I need to shower. That's like it's like a refresher, you know.
Absolutely. And I'm super weird about like, well, I guess on the road, one of my musts that I have to do every single night, if we're like only in a hotel for one night, I have to like set the hotel room for the next morning, like get it completely ready to leave the next day. So I'll like,
what do you mean?
I'll lay out like everything in the bathroom completely ready to go for the next day. I have my clothes completely
laid
out,
that's
suitcase
respect,
packed
because
up,
when
like,
you wake
ready
up,
to go.
That's respect, because when you wake up, you gotta go. There's no time to like, dude, where's my cell phone charger? You know, it's like. That's actually smart because you know everything's already laid out. Yeah. You just get up, put it together, and go. And that's literally the worst way to start your day. Is already
exactly.
You roll out of bed and your blood pressure's through the roof.
Something. Yeah, I don't want to deal with
Branville's like laid out on the couch, like yo. What
oh my god, dude. Yeah, no.
I can't even get
clean up the hotel rooms a little bit. So.
Yeah. It's a different thing. What do you think Jordan's purpose is?
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, these are little serious questions. But what do you think Jordan's purpose is?
You know, I've always, it sounds super generic and maybe it is like super cliche, but like I think there's so many people, especially like from where I'm from in the suburbs, that are like afraid to do something different. They're afraid to like be whatever they really want to be because they feel like they're pressure from their parents or pressure from the community to just be something normal. Go do like work for a Fortune 500 company or go be a doctor or go be a lawyer, like whatever it is. And I feel like I want to be able to show other, just inspire kids, like normal ass kids, that they can do whatever the hell they want. And that's why I just think anybody can be anything. It's so cliche, but it's so true. And like you realize the more like you go at things, like you meet people from all over all walks of life that came from all different kinds of places, and they all like ended in one place. And I think it's just crazy to like. I want to like my purpose to be like to inspire the youth, like you say, and like inspire people to chase their dreams and do like what they really want to do and not what they're told to do.
Yeah, and you remember and probably you can even just think back to those days in the early high school when you weren't confident to like do like the music thing. And it makes sense because not every high school or kids are just like down to be in the music industry, and you're that one oddball. Too. It's like, what are you doing, bro? I mean, I remember the days with Dylan. People are like, what are you guys trying to do? Like, he's trying to make music, and you're like his quote unquote manager. You know, people kind of laugh at you, but then it's like, yo, we live in LA, bro. Like we live here now. You know what I mean? We actually follow through the steps, so it's.
I mean, you should never do anything. Of course, you just never do anything to like to prove people wrong or anything like that. But like,
no, yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to
use that fuel to like keep the fire going.
No one will ever like you'd be lying if you said it doesn't feel good to tell people like who said you can never do it. Like, be like, look at that. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's. I mean, that's awesome.
That's literally the best feeling in the world.
It's like to do something like what we're doing, like to be in the music industry, to go start a podcast, like it takes balls. It takes like rolling the dice and committing yourself all in. Like if you don't go all in on it, you're never gonna be successful at it. And so it's like realizing that you're gonna go in and you're gonna be successful, you're gonna fail. But there is that chance that you fail, but you have to go for it because you can't be good at it otherwise.
But the thing is though, you can never fail by going for it because you end up learning a bunch of shit you would never have learned. So it's like thankfully, I don't know how I just knew all this stuff. I don't know if I was listening to all the right podcasts, but it's like I knew that starting this podcast that I was either going to learn a lot and fail and fall on my face, or I was going to be super successful. But it was just that I told myself in the beginning, I'm going to do this, and there's no option B. I'm going to fully commit. I'm going to make a lot of sacrifices, and I'm just going to go all in and see where I end up. And then that's how I got here. That's how I got, the people that have been able to get on. It's just that whole like all in mentality of like, this is what I want to do.
I think that's like a huge thing that's like helped me as far as like just touring, because like as the more tours I've done, like I used to be super nervous when I started the tour. Like, is anything going to go wrong? I try to be super, super over prepared. And now it's like, I know I'm going to tackle whatever problems come. Like things are going to get fucked up. Things are going to happen, but we can handle any problem. We can overcome anything. There's been so much shit that's happened, but we've always figured it out, and like knowing that no matter what, we're gonna make it through.
I remember. I think it was when we met you guys at the Sour Patch House. You were telling me, I forget how we got into conversation, but it was like for instance, like you learn lessons. It's like if a drive is from one venue to another is 2 hours, you schedule it out as 3 because the stops in between. I was like, that is genius because people are gonna want to stop at a gas station, use the bathroom, grab food. But you don't think about that. You think, okay, it's a 2 hour drive. We'll schedule it out. Leave at 9. We'll be there by 11 a.m. It's like that's not gonna work at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so funny.
It's like learning a lot about people. Tour managing is just learning about people. It's all people, man. It's like. You have to have relationships, be able to develop relationships quickly, and then be able to like utilize them, and be able to just like understand people quickly.
Yeah. This is when I versatile. I allow my guests to ask me any one question.
Okay.
Could be about something we talked about today, something you want to know about me. 2 rules. 1, can't be a question I asked you today. And then 2, it can't really be directly about the podcast.
Okay.
Kind of try to keep it open, but
What?
anyone question?
Okay. What do you think?
If you got, I'll give you, if you have like one or two.
I gotta get one. What do you think is your best like branding like quality? What do you think is your best quality that you can most marketable quality?
My personality. Like is that kind of the,
yeah.
Like my personality. I think I'm good with people. I think that's like my trait. I think I always tell people like, I'm not great. I don't have like the eye for design. Sometimes I don't know how to package things perfectly in that type of sense, but I know how to connect with people. That's why like the fact that I Uber full time to make a living in LA, it makes sense. People get it wrong. Like they think like, oh, you just drive around people all day. No, I literally talk to people all day. Like I pick them up and bring them from A to B, but what do you think happens in between that A to B? I'm talking to people every single day. I'm handing out business cards. I'm like networking. Sometimes I'm just listening to podcasts because they're on their phone and they're making calls themselves. But I think the best trait I have, and I'm thankful that I recognize it, and God bless my father because it comes from him, is just my personality. I can connect with people. You can put me in a room with an absolute stranger and I will pull out a conversation. I will you got to imagine, bro, like I literally I've had every walk of life in my car. And I've made it comfortable every single time. For sure. The person that looks so sketched out, I make sure we're comfortable because I'm not sitting there like thinking I'm about to get killed right now. You know, it's like I just know how to read people. It's like, oh, how you doing, man? What's going on? What you getting into tonight? You know, it's like you kind of have to like approach the conversation a little bit differently. You can't treat everybody like, hey, how's it going? It's like no. Yeah. Like when you see a younger guy, you're like, hey, what's going on, man? What you getting tonight? You going out? You laying low? You getting into, you know? And then you get the old timers, you know. Oh, come on, man. He tells me the stories about him in the 50s.
Back in my day.
So it's like, thankfully, I recognized that early on, and then everything just aligned. It's like, well, what is a podcast? It's having a conversation with strangers. Most of the time, what I loved about you coming in today is like when you had texted me, it's like, yo, if it's cool if I come at like 5:30 or 5:40. I'm like, bro, come whenever you want because I already know you, bro. Yeah. You have no idea how much ground is already skipped. Like you walk in, it's like, what's up? How you been? Good. Like, what's going on? Are you do this? You do that? All right, let's just fire these up. Like, let's get it on. Differently, when I get strangers coming in, it's like this whole cookie cutter, making sure it's presentable, it's perfect. This is the first time I'm meeting people. Yeah, definitely. I email them for maybe 5 or 6 times. Spend 15, 20 minutes talking to them and then fire up the mics. And then I'm like, tell me about your childhood. Like, what was the biggest struggle? You know what I mean? Like, think about like serious shit. Like some serious shit. Like that's how you get the best content. So it's throw off guard a little bit. So it's like once I realized that was my skill and I knew that no matter what I'm trying to do at the end of the day, it's like that is what you need. And as you've learned with networking, as you've learned with getting opportunities for yourself, if you can get good with people and understand how to have a conversation, you can do anything in this world. Absolutely, 100%. You can do anything in this world.
Relationships are everything.
It is the fact. Closing questions. I want you to imagine there's a picture frame on the wall. 10 years from now, you are in the picture frame. Who else do we see within that picture frame?
Ooh, okay.
And where is it taken?
Well, 10 years.
To be a young 34.
It's so tough.
Young
it's
34.
So hard. I have no idea where I'm going to be in like 3 months, let alone.
Probably by next. You don't even know where you'll be next week.
I don't know. I know I'll be next week. That's pretty scheduled. Okay. I have no idea. I mean, hopefully it's in LA. Okay. I think it's gonna be in LA probably, in the California area, Southern California. Hopefully with a family. Yeah. At that point, I don't know if I'll still be touring in 10 years. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm tour managing like really big acts in 10 years. Maybe we're with Bazzi and we're just crushing it, doing stadiums in 10 years. But I don't know. I think I'll still be working in the industry. Obviously, I want to do music like for the rest of my life. Yeah. But I don't really know where exactly I want to take it in music. Yeah. So I mean, but I definitely want to have a family, be in California, be happy, and maybe not be on the road as much. Maybe kind of just be more like have some roots.
So you're done with Chicago. Probably not gonna be living there.
I'm probably gonna move out here like very soon. It's just like as soon as I can get a couple of weeks off to make the trip, because I gotta drive out here and the whole thing. So.
It's a different lifestyle here, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know what? I'll take the picture for you because I think I'll be living out here in 10 years from now. So
there we go.
I'll take the picture for you. Where can people find you on social media?
Oh, at How You Lavine.
At How You Lavine.
At How You Lavine.
How did you land that?
So I wanted it to be Levine on a prayer, but that was taken. Okay. And then what was the other one I wanted to do? I don't really remember. But then I settled on How You Lavine, like how you living. It was really it might have been like
I can imagine your face when you
option.
when you got confirmed.
I thought it was funny.
He's
though.
like, yeah, I got it.
It took me quite a while to find something that was gonna work for that, and then I was pretty happy about that once I got it though, because I didn't want the underscore in my name anymore. I wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah,
and I was really jealous that Mason had just locked in Mace.
And Mace, that's so badass.
So I had to like try and get something. You gotta change it up. I need something.
Do you have a Twitter too?
It's the same.
You said the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
HOWYOULEVI.
I'll have it all literally like on the YouTube that you'll be able to see it.
Make sure everybody knows.
Yeah, I'll make sure everybody. I'm literally gonna like tell the intro of the pod. I'm just gonna say follow this guy right now.
Okay,
blow him up.
Perfect.
And they're gonna drop probably a bunch of bearded man emojis.
There we go.
That's what I tell every person.
That's
like,
perfect.
Just drop a bearded man emoji. They're gonna know how they found you. Like that's like the easy thing. Before I ask the last question, bro, thank you for coming in. This is dope. Like
this is years in the making.
This has been years in the making. Definitely when I saw. I think it was I always had I mean I knew at some point everybody was like gonna. I always know that like there's certain people I'm like this person's eventually getting on the podcast. It's just like a matter of timing.
Yeah.
And especially when like the whole the Witt tour. I was like, yo, I actually almost asked you to do the pod. I remember I texted you when you were on Witt tour. I was like, do you have anybody on the tour?
Yeah.
And you actually didn't respond.
I know. I just saw it before I came here. I was like, oh wow, I didn't respond.
I was like, and I thought
who does the G tour? I think you texted me.
No, it was Witt. It was
really?
Witt. I had texted you. I was like, yo, do you have anybody on the Witt tour? Because you guys had an extra day. You were staying at the Sour Patch House. You were going down to OC and coming back for a show. Yeah, and I was like, he'll be back. Let me see. So I texted you. You didn't respond, and I was like, oh shit, he's like pissed I didn't ask him to be on the pod. No. I know that wasn't the case, but it was kind of funny. Anyway, and then I saw the whole G thing, then this whole Bazzi thing. It was just. I was like, all right, when he's in LA next, like this has to happen. But bro, you're absolutely killing it. Like from doing just free merch, like passing out T-shirts to now flying around the country doing some crazy shit and bigger things on the way. Like it's pretty dope, man. Like that is the purpose in the youth. Like this is it. You know what I mean? Like you did it, and this was a super dope pod. So I appreciate you coming in today.
I appreciate you having me, dude.
Last question: what's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give to somebody listening? Doesn't have a passion, doesn't have a purpose, hasn't figured that out. What would you say they do?
Put yourself out there. Reach out. Like people aren't gonna come to you when you don't have like any. Why would they? They don't have a reason to. They're not gonna come to you. You need to put yourself in front of people and then make them see you, and that's how you'll get opportunities. Yeah. Just work your ass off. Yeah. And let them see that you work your ass off. Yeah. Patience. Be patient because things aren't always gonna like happen right away. Like I was going like 3 months, no gigs, like nothing, just sending emails, hoping that something's gonna pop out or like work out, and eventually it did. And like that goes along with like persistence and drive and everything like that. But patience is super, super crucial. And don't always jump at, like I said, don't always jump at the first like thing that comes. Like, know your value. I guess I'm throwing a lot of advice in there, but like know your value.
If it's flowing,
know your value, because like don't let people undervalue you and like take you for granted, because if you know you're worth something, then you make them see it too. Yeah. And I think confidence is key. And like confidence is key, and the way you carry yourself is key, because if you project confidence, then people will like reflect that back to you. Like they'll trust you more. So I mean, if you're working with like somebody famous, something like that, or somebody like in the upper class, whatever it is, and you want to gain their respect, you have confidence, they'll have confidence in you. If you think you know what you're talking about, they're gonna appreciate you and understand what's going on. But if you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, then you're out. So I mean, be prepared, I guess, like that, and know your audience always, and like tailor yourself to your audience, but still be yourself. Yeah. So
dropping gems, Jordan Levine. Thank you for coming on the podcast, bro.
You.
It was an absolute pleasure.
It's great.
All right, folks. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you.